there's lots of blame being kind of shifted around, right? There's people talking about, failure of government to, well, I guess there's a couple things that we just talked about is that it's not rare that it started.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as it's progressed and grown and they've really struggled to put it out, is there anything there that you look at and you're like, well, from your experience being a firefighter, had there been mistakes made?
Yes,
Are there,
it's a absolute cluster F of a disaster in terms of the government response.
yeah,
So there's three things going on. First of all, the one I just said, this is a naturally occurring event, which is a wildfire to happen. Typically, historically, hundreds of years ago, it started by lightning, or Native Americans would actually start fires, or some other, abnormally. There's also a static electricity phenomenon that can happen. But the point is, this entire area of Southern California is meant to burn. In fact, there's certain plants whose seeds don't even germinate unless they have been exposed to fire, because they need the heat to expand. And also the soil needs to be, has to have a certain amount of burned ash to regenerate life. So this is a completely natural part of nature. So I'll just set that aside. The second thing that's very important to understand is the preventative measures that LA, Southern California, and all of California have completely gone away from, because they want to preserve the environment. I'm using air quotes on that, because they're preserving the environment in ways that academics think is the right thing to do. But if you go on the ground, it's completely setting yourself up for disaster. One example is brush clearance. There's a thing in California called ESHA, where you cannot clear brush into a certain zone, because they quantify it as a natural ESHA area. It's an abbreviation for this area you're not supposed to clear brush out of. And this has pigeonholed a lot of homes and developments right next to wildland interface, which is basically where things burn. So they're setting themselves up for disaster. Then there's a whole water debate as well. But the third thing to all this is the response. The response has been an absolute cluster, and you can really point fingers to the leadership of Los Angeles City specifically. And I don't want to go into that, because it's pretty much everyone knows what's going on there. But all the suspicions you may have in terms of the prioritization of DEI and equal opportunity rights and all that versus, or instead of, merit-based hiring and leadership, that's the problem, 100%. So those three things added up is leading to this just insane disaster that LA is going through right now.